I pissed a lot of people off today, Mr. Fluffman.
It kind of sounds like a daily thing.
Yeah, but today was special. I made a special pissy tweet today. And here it is. I have lived in Germany for well over a decade. In the past 24 months, I've watched a comedian face prison time over an insult joke to a Turkish dictator. Currently, the Germans are trying to make it illegal to get this, stream video games or much of anything without acquiring a license that would cost 10,000 euros, virtually wiping out game streaming, Twitch, YouTube, as we know it. And just yesterday in Berlin, a hate speech law was passed. Most believe it's designed to silence opposition to the refugee crisis. And I believe that too. Saying somebody is law was passed. Speaking hatefully is subjective, and I'm sure it'll be subjectively enforced. This is not the country I moved to, and it's getting spookier and spookier every single day. I really wonder how much longer I could even make a tweet like this.
That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go.
Broadcasting live from the heart of Europe. This is the most depressing broadcast in all the known lands. I'm not in a good mood there, Fluffman. My point, man, of course.
No, you're not. I do have a story for you that might cheer you up.
What's that?
I got pulled over the other night, and when the cop got out of the car, I gave him a Pepsi, and everything was okay.
That commercial doesn't piss me off for the reasons that everybody thinks. It's just the Pepsi thing doesn't make me. Yeah, it does make me miserable. The Pepsi thing just depresses me. It's just how out of touch people are when their job is literally only to sell sugar water, that they could be so disconnected from young people in a lot of ways. Anyway.
So you're saying that giving a cop a Pepsi isn't going to stop like police brutality and all the problems in the world today?
Yes. Yes. Pepsi, stop supporting Thompson. I don't give a fuck if they advertise on.
And apparently all protests people are very happy. When was the last time you saw everybody being happy during a protest?
Usually when they turn over a car and light something on fire, that usually gets a good.
Yeah,
that's the crowd going.
That's usually when a team wins the Stanley Cup or something.
Yes, in Vancouver.
Or like when the Cubs win the World Series. That's not really a protest, though.
I don't know. It's just unbelievable. Pepsi is gross. Coke, fuck the world.
I was always a Coke guy anyway.
I'm kind of a Pepsi guy, to be honest with you. But I probably shouldn't say that. All right. I'm a miserable fuck. Cut the music. Here's the deal. I made this tweet today, and I was walking down the street with my daughter, and I've obviously taken a beating, like a lot of other YouTubers. I'm not fucking special. As far as money's concerned, my monetization status is 100% good and approved by YouTube. But they're not always running the ads. I've been told, but I've not confirmed or seen any articles that there's only so many ads to go around. It does seem that the ads are popping up on my videos intermittently, which makes me unhappy. It wasn't a super, there's no Pootie Pie Jacksepticeye this week. I mean, that would have been probably a lot more interesting for the fans to tune into. But I guess that started bugging me. And then I started to realize that the place that I came to, which is different than the United States, and they did have hate speech laws when I came here and things of that nature, does have the air of creeping authoritarianism. That does not mean I'm walking down the streets of Nazi Germany. I made no references to the Third Reich, and I was very proud of that. because that's easy, it's simple, and it's thoughtless at the end of the day.
A little bit of a different situation back then.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. It's a little bit of a different situation, but it's always a different situation. Democracies go awry all the time. I'm pretty sure the Weimar Republic was a democracy. Also, the Emechtekons Gazette, or the Enabling Act, was passed by a Democratic vote. And I am just, with the German government, which, by the way, I have been avoiding talking about this, is currently reviewing, in the simplest terms, and I know Leach is going to get on my case for this, but I've read all translated text. They're essentially, for American ones, the FCC has always looked at streaming, what we're doing now, game streaming, as separate as television and radio. Television and radio has certain laws and licenses and things of that nature, just like they do in the United States. Exactly like they do in the United States. But what happens on the internet, it was a wild, wild west. Germany, of course.
You do whatever
you want. But Germany, in the Western world, has pretty much very similar laws to China. The only difference is they're not going to kick down your fucking door, at least not yet. So it's just really aggravating to find out that the person that was in charge of what we'd call the German FCC never enforced this law, which, from what Leach assures me, that internet falls under this law. At least that's what he believes. He's not a lawyer, but I'm sure he's given his best interpretation. Because he didn't feel it was the same thing. Now we have an RTL lobbyist has his job. What's RTL? Well, I'll use more American. Yep. It would be the equivalent of CBS, NBC in the States. It would be the equivalent. So a lobbyist, somebody who goes out and goes to Berlin and tries to garner support, favors in Berlin for their television station, is now in charge.
They control everything. Is
now in charge. So first of all, it's total conflict of interest, if you ask me. Oh, yeah. And if you want to put Pootie Pie out there as far as the poster child for the attack on old media, on new media, this, in my opinion, is the most sinister attack yet. Because this person has legal power. The Wall Street Journal has no legal power or authority over anyone. The equivalent to the German FCC does. Now, there is an upside to this. There are people in this organization that admitted that these laws were written before internet was even conceived. Therefore, it might not fall under it. The person...
How much power do they have, though?
You know what? We're probably going to have to put Leach on to find that out. And I have a feeling he's going to pop in. Now, so there is a question whether A, internet falls under that, and B, whether they have the authority to do anything to begin with. Leach thinks they do, because the law, even though it wasn't written with internet in mind, it's still a type of broadcasting. That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, so essentially, I am running a pirate radio station that's running awry with German law right now, and I always was.
This stuff goes through. They're saying that the license that it's going to take is what, 10,000?
It depends on the listener. Greg. It's typical Germany. It's filled with bureaucracy. They love bureaucracy, and they love writing every goddamn thing down. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And what I find worse is German people seem to view laws as almost as if they are gospel. By that I mean from the Bible, the Word of God. You can have a bad law. You can have a law that runs awry with political speech. Just because it becomes law, what are you all, Onision out? They're all like Onisions. They point to their definitions and shit, like what Sear was saying to us.
Yeah.
Well, it's the law. The law's garbage. The law flies in the face of your values. but it's the law. Fight it! Fight it!
Fight it. Change it. Do something. If you don't like it, do something
Fight
about
it. Well, that's the other thing that I'm starting to realize. I don't think they have a problem with it. Certain, I would say, Germans on the left, as long as it's enforced against their political enemies.
Exactly.
I'm not going to.
There's always some agenda behind it. Always.
I had a person. I don't want to throw any hate this person week, because contrary to popular belief, if you criticize me with respect, I will return that respect, even on here. That she didn't like. It's not that I didn't say anything that wasn't true in that Twitter video. She didn't like the fact that I was portraying Germany as if it was somehow an authoritarian state. I don't know how she got that.
I don't either.
But, and in fairness to this person, in fairness to this person, I said she. I already fucked it up.
You didn't give a name. You're good.
Yeah, well, whatever. They're going to figure it out. In fairness to this person, I didn't use those words, but she sort of crammed them in my mouth. What I was essentially saying, and I gave her the benefit of doubt initially because of language barrier, was there is creeping authoritarianism by the three examples that I gave. The streaming, the hate speech law, and the comedian that faced charges. This same person, who I would regard as intelligent, bright, and it turned out to have an excellent command of the language, actually said to me that the comedian, I can't even say his name, Boharam, who famously, essentially called Erdogan the Turkish dictator, and that's exactly what he is, a sheep fucker. There is a law on the German books. I think it's very old, and it's probably just post-war, that a German citizen, and I think anybody standing in the soil, right? Because I'm not a German citizen, so I don't know if this applies to me or not, but it probably does, more than likely, cannot insult a foreign leader.
Anybody. You can't make any derogatory statement towards any foreign leader.
An insult. I think you can criticize, but you can't insult them. So to call him a sheep fucker would fall under an insult. All right? She wrote me, and I felt like she was looking me in the eyes and said, this comedian who was charged, who did have to hire a lawyer, probably spent hundreds of thousands of euros to keep himself out of prison. That's right, prison time. Prison time for insulting a foreign leader.
For an insult.
Wrote me and said that was not an example of censorship.
How?
I don't know.
That seems like
this is a bright
definition.
This is a bright person. This is a person that seems like she has a lot to offer. Like I said, great command of English. Which some Germans really do. I've even met Germans with American accents that have a tremendous command of language.
That's the exact fucking definition of it.
The law is the censorship just because he didn't end up going to prison. And by the way, the judges, by her own admission, ignored the law. By German law, he should have done time or been fined. Just because the action didn't take place. And by the way, the law hasn't been erased. I've looked into it. It's still there. It hasn't been gotten. They haven't. There is no mechanism. There is no mechanism that removed it. So it's still on the books.
So is there like any ETA on when this stuff could possibly go through, or like what do you?
It's probably going to fight out in court. I'm thinking at least a year or two. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not educated enough in German law to know. I remember.
Fair enough.
On the head of maybe this isn't a good example, but I remember when the drinking age went from 16 to 18. There was a picture of two kind of drunk blonde kids that were probably around 16 or 15 years old on the cover of Stern magazine, which is our equivalent of Time magazine, and the law was passed in 30 days. That might not be a good example. That might not be a good example, but I have seen legislation move rather quickly over here, so I don't know. And here's another thing. It's already been legislated. It's just up to interpretation, so people are going to have to spend millions of dollars. Thank God it's not my money to find out what they're doing is legal. What I think the result will be is I think you more than likely will have to pay a tax. It may not be 10,000 euros a month or 1,000 euros a month.
10,000, that's fucking
but
ridiculous.
it typical, you have to license your dick in this country to scratch it. So it might be like $50 a year or something like that when everything's all settled. If that's what pleases the government, that's what I think will happen. That's my guess.
Right, 10,000. That's fucking insane.
This is a legal battle that is open for interpretation. But what I find more disappointing, I gave 3 separate examples. 3 separate, very different issues that gives me the impression that there is authoritarianism here in Germany. And I was told by the same person that I combined them to give that picture. No, they're 3 separate images. That she suggested they were somehow related. None of them are related. None of them are related. These are examples. And it was just staggering. Staggering to me.
Well, like what kind of you said they licensed you like out the asshole over there. Like what specifically like something stupid.
The stupidest one, TV repairman. In other words, if I were, let's say I was really good at fixing TV because I was into it, right? Like in the United States, as long as the market decides whether I can stay open or not, the government decides. Not only do I need a license, but I have to go to like a 4-year school.
You have to go to a 4-year
to fix televisions. To fix fucking televisions
before you can make income on that.
Yes, you probably have to go to school, show you have the degree in order to get the license.
Dad. No.
And then the license has to be approved probably by your state or province. That is not freedom, folks.
What else you got? Keep these coming.
I don't know. But you're getting off the subject. You're getting off the subject. So if for some reason the strictest interpretation of this law, I'm done. Goodbye. See you later. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm not fighting it. I'm not going to raise money for it. I'm not asking the fuckheads for 10 grand. It's just, I might not even ask him for 1,000. If it ends up being 1,000 a month or 1,000, I say, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck it in the ear. Fuck it in the other ear. I don't care. I don't care that much. Germany is a place where dreams come to die. And the other was the hate speech law, which can affect me. Because the hate speech law mentions insults, not unlike the situation with the comedian. Insults. Well, there's a lot of insults on this show. We talk about ethnic groups on this show. I don't believe anything we do is hateful, but certainly someone could interpret it that way. And in an era of social justice warriors, everything that runs afoul with their ideology is considered hate speech.
I mean, they can make a whole freaking documentary on it.
Sure. Sure.
Just from what we do here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd be done in a week. Serious fines, times in prison for being rude. Think about it, Germany. You're legislating, punishing, fining, and imprisoning people that are rude.
They don't care.
That is not free speech. The same person said to me that we're pretty much on the same wavelength. We agree. It's only maybe she couldn't express herself, so she sent a video. And then went on to tell me that there was a need for this law.
Why?
A need for this law to punish this comedian. Yet she was happy that the comedian got off. But she said there was a need for it. And then she also said there was free speech. That's not free speech. That's government-approved speech. But Tommy, they're only stopping people that are saying hateful things and say that all Muslims should die. I don't believe you. I don't believe them. And even if I'm wrong and the intentions are pure, all it's going to take is one jackass from RTL to get in charge to change that.
Well, when it comes to this stuff, nobody uses common sense. They don't take the context into account.
I guess that's a slippery slope fallacy, common sense. That's all it takes. And here's the best part. I've heard this before, too. Not from anybody. Hate speech is not free speech. Yes, it is. And I'm sorry, nobody in if you have a hate speech law, you have a speech problem. You have a freedom of speech problem. The people that founded our country knew that what one person found hateful, another person might find impassioned. Therefore, and this is going to sound disgusting, we protect Ku Klux Klansmen, neo-Nazis, communists, communists that believe in Stalinism and stuff like that. So I'll throw one on the left. The Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh, God,
these are groups of people that have very sick, even murderous ideas. But as long as it stays in the realm of speech, it is protected like the speech that I have now. This is a concept that was developed during the Enlightenment in Europe. This has been lost not only on the young European, but it is starting to spread into our universities in the United States. That's why you're seeing things like safe spaces and things like that of that nature.
I see it.
This is authoritarianism. I'm sorry that offends you, that I feel that things are changing for the worst and could lead to an authoritarian state. Oh, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You, how dare you? You have a big audience on Twitter. You can't say, yes, I can. And the worst I can be is wrong because my speech morally, just forget the First Amendment, should be protected by the values that founded all these countries and my own, Australia, and what we call the West. Any deviation is a venture into authoritarianism. Any deviation. You can tell yourself, one of these things it was translated to me, this hate speech law was needed. We needed to take away speech to keep a thriving and free democracy.
It's a little bit contradictory.
Yes. And it is frightening that young people in Europe, it is disturbing that they can hold these contradictory views and they don't see the hypocrisy. They don't see how dangerous it is. And if I was going to inject the Third Reich was supported, and this is going to be by good people that got suckered in. No, they weren't. Well, let's look at Scientologists. You can say every Scientologist is a rotten person. You're going to say every person that got involved with Jim Jones or some other outfit when they snapped out of it. I'm sure there's plenty of Nazis that snapped out of it. They weren't dumb people.
They got sucked into it. They
got sucked into this way of life. Not even in order to survive, but they thought it was the right thing to do, and they may have had the best of intentions. But they were unwittingly supporting authoritarianism, that which is National Socialism. Unwittingly. And they were probably using the same arguments that you're making right now when it came to Adolf Hitler's speech codes. We have to keep this land free for the German. That's why you can't say or think or do. And that's probably how it started. And then when people started fighting back, they probably found a bullet in their head in no time. And that's what I'm saying. You people, I think the person I talked to today was not a Nazi, was not a fascist, was not a communist, that loves her country and thinks that she is doing the best for it and defending it by standing up to me, which I do respect. But history says something very different. Much different. And to have so many young people play so fast and loose with their speech is frightening. I can tolerate a Ku Klux Klansman. I can tolerate a communist or a Stalinist. Let's be really specific here. I can tolerate them. And I want to know where they are. I don't want them to go into hiding. What is a hate speech
Right,
law?
let them be who they
Let
are.
them be who they are. We know that if you get an address, you know where they are, you know where they organize. A lot easier to find unless they have to go underground because they know they'll be arrested just for speaking out. Let them know. I want to know where the next Ku Klux Klan rally is because maybe if there's a criminal there, the police can keep a little better eye on them. Here's the other thing that's fascinating about hate speech. It doesn't matter what kind of law you make. It doesn't curb what it's supposed to curb. It's supposed to curb hate. Do you really believe that if something, a German could believe this, I suppose, but if something is illegal, that it would somehow change somebody's hateful mind? No, it wouldn't, would it?
It seems like it brings out more hate.
See, I suppose that argument could be made. And you've given them a victim's cause. They can say what they want, but I can't say what I want. And you've also given them a platform to bring more people in when times are hard, like they were here in the 20s. Speech didn't bring Adolf Hitler to power, and he did nothing but say hateful things. Economy brought Adolf Hitler to power, because had there been a thriving German economy in the 1920s, no one would give a shit about a short, big-nosed Austrian screaming in a bar about Jews. They would just have ignored him if living conditions were what they should have been in Germany in the 1920s. It wasn't speech. Banning Mein Kampf in Germany has not lessened the amount of neo-Nazis or members of NPD. It hasn't. Not a little bit. It doesn't even do. The only thing it does, it allows people that believe in this bullshit to feel good about themselves as they oppress others. And eventually, a reasonable, unhateful opinion, divergent opinion, will be used. These laws will be used to silence them. It's just a matter of time. People do not let go of political power very easily. Look what's happening in the United States.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look at the Capitol building. Look at that.
They do not let go very easily. And in order to keep their cushy job in government, they will use these laws to oppress. Really oppress. I'm not talking feminists on a U.S. campus oppress. I'm talking you talk. You never seen your family again. And don't tell me that can't happen, because the stone that's outside my apartment says otherwise. And that was only 70 years ago. You can have essential fascism that doesn't look anything like a swastika or anything like National Socialism on the people, on the other side of the spectrum, from the people who claim to oppose it at all costs. Very easy. And it will be in the name of stopping extremism. You will get extremism in the name of trying to stop it. Germany is not a free speech country. The United Kingdom is not a free speech country. Finland, Sweden, Denmark, they are not free speech countries. Ireland made sure of it last week. They are not a free speech country. Austria is not a free speech country. Italy is not a free speech country. France is not a free speech country. Spain is not a free speech country. Portugal is not a free speech country. In fact, strangely, I think there's more free speech, ironically, in the east of Europe, the impoverished east, than there is right here. Something. If I can't stream, I can't put my opinion about there and let people know what's going on in Germany. If I can't come up with $10,000, if you don't think that's deliberate, I'm sorry, we disagree, I do. If there's speech laws out there and they are designed only to stop the people that are saying they want to kill and hate and all this other stuff, you're fooling yourself, and I believe you're naive. If you disagree with me, fine. And there was a comedian that was charged with the crime of insulting a foreign leader. These are all facts. What isn't a fact is my feeling. And you're free to disagree with this. But fuck you if you're telling me I'm lying. Fuck you if you're saying that I'm misrepresenting or giving half facts. Everything I said was factual. Everything. And it was disturbing and angry. It makes me really angry. I think that in a wonderful country like Germany that has been nothing but good to me, except for the government. Wonderful people over here. Wonderful, caring, loving family people of all different ethnicities, denominations. But I would like them to stay free. And I would like to stay free. Because a lot of people spilled blood here to make it free that weren't German. Let's go to the phone lines. I'll put Leach in there if he wants. Oh, of course he boogied.
Yeah.
All right. Let's put him on. Are you running a fucking program or something? I lost your voice, your everything.
Oh, I'm running it.
Jesus. Maybe they're shutting us down or they're shutting you down.
Yeah.
I'm putting Leach on. Well,
Yeah.
Leach is muted, of course, and that's the guy I wanted to talk to the most because he's German. Oh, and Pepsi. Fuck Pepsi. I guess I probably should talk about it a little more. Yeah, you're, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with you.
I'm not running.
You all right? Try to call me back in a minute, all right?
Yeah.
All right, buddy. You're out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna take a phone call. 203, you're on the air.
Hey, I just want
Am I?
Oh, now it works. Great.
Yeah, now it works.
Muted.
I'm sorry, the phone call is your server muted.
I was, yes.
Must be those
so much for the censorship, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, so much for it. All right, I think you're gonna tell me why I'm wrong, I suppose, or what I got wrong. But go ahead.
No. The thing really is, right. Why should I tell you why you are wrong? It's your opinion. An opinion cannot be wrong.
Well, I had people telling me, other Germans, by the way, that I was misrepresenting the facts.
Tommy, I know. I saw that entire thing. I was sitting at work. I was looking at Twitter, and then I saw a text wall of Tommy C shit coming up on my phone. Do you think I'm unaware of the stuff you are doing on the internet?
No, it's not that. It shocks me when I state three facts and give my opinions based on those three separate incidents, and it's treated as if I'm giving fake news.
No, the thing is, right, and not everybody necessarily agrees on how you presented them.
Sure, that's their right.
Yeah, but the things you said are true, I guess, to a certain extent. Well, let's start off with the when it comes to, by the way, to the people that are interested in the streaming stuff. I'm going to plug myself here, Tommy.
Go ahead.
I did a video on that streaming stuff over at my channel, Leech Live.
And I retweeted it today, by the way. I retweeted it today.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for that, by the way. I talked about that intensively because it also affects me very, very much.
Sure. And
my plans for my channel, etc. I rolled up the entire issue, so I don't think I need to address that issue. You basically summed it up. What happened was, in my personal opinion, very corrupt. You know, these media institution that made this decision. This law has been in place like it was for now over 30 years. The same law, unchanged. But it was never applied to private streamers who play games or talk bullshit into a camera ever.
Okay. Until when?
In no institution was it used. Do you know why? Because nobody fucking cared. And then in North Rhine-Westphalia, in Düsseldorf, they had the great idea to put a guy in charge of that institute who was before that a lobbyist for private television. And
in other words, I just want to help the people along. Essentially, an equivalent to our American NBC, CBS.
Yes.
Just help it. Go ahead.
Yes. And this guy is now the guy who was formerly a lobbyist for a media outlet, is now in legal control of these legal outlets. And this power also includes cracking down on streams. As in every country on this planet, television and radio media is decreasing in revenue and revenue and revenue. And this guy is now trying to, which I find crazily corrupt, is now trying to push down these laws on everybody and force the other institutes to, the other 15 institutes in the other 15 German states that never cared or have yet to care. He is forcing them to follow through with this law. And that, in my opinion, is very, very corrupt.
I think it's dangerous.
Yes.
I go far as direction.
That's what I'm trying
I don't
to
know
say.
that I can't call it corrupt because I don't know that they're doing anything illegal.
No,
but it's-
the corrupt part for me is not the illegal part, but the corrupt part is for me putting somebody who worked as a lobbyist for a private television station before, putting him in power of a state institute that has control over set private television. You know what I mean?
Yes. So let me translate a little bit. Not that you're not speaking incorrectly, but just for the American viewer and possibly the UK.
Maybe I can find it. Maybe I can find it in all.
It would be the equivalent of somebody from NBC taking over the FCC.
Yes.
And basically making rules that favor their former institution, which would be NBC.
I wouldn't say he didn't make rules that they'd favor, but he is the first person that is now using a law that was never applied on a case where it can be applied, but nobody cared before. The law already exists, right? But there's a difference there's also a legal difference, just straight up. When somebody never cares about something and it stands in the book for over 70 years and it's ignored, and then some dude who can take advantage of that comes along, grabs the power and uses it is still somewhat of power abuse because the people trusted in the fact that this law would never be used on them.
Yeah. I'm sure like sort of like the German kids that came to me today and were trusted very much that hate speech laws would never be used on them. Same thing.
No, the main part why that law was actually instated in the first place is because of wavelength on radio things. That is why it wasn't, which makes sense because otherwise you cross over somebody else's wavelength.
Yeah. By the way, the FCC, their original role in the United States was to make sure radio stations weren't stepping on each other. So they assigned different frequencies and things of that nature. Sounds like a great job for government. Like what? Guess what it became? A censorship group.
Yeah, no, the funny part is actually, which I was surprised that the dude who was affected, right? He didn't go in it with well, I think he's going to do the lawsuit. He has legal lawyers looking over it. And he has until the end of April to actually hand in his papers. Not only that, but he also talked to very influential politicians in Berlin who, by the way, agreed with him that should not be used. So we might actually get a change of law in that place.
That would be fantastic. So we're going to fight. This guy's going to fight this. I wonder how much money it's going to cost him. I hope he gets...
The funny part is the first thing that he did is now he went to Berlin and talked to the Merkel party. Not
CDU.
the Merkel party.
CDU.
But he was on a meeting of members of the Merkel party and he talked and he got applause when he talked in front of them.
Great.
His now most vocal supporter is Peter Tauber, who is, I think,
I know he is.
like the lead secretary of the Christian Conservatives over here. So he has a backing. He's also backed now, I think, by the Libertarian Party of Germany.
Yeah, naturally.
So his opinion gets more and more voice. It's getting out there, basically.
Okay, good. Last thing, the Pirate Party. Where are they on this?
The Pirate... they ain't even relevant anymore.
I know they had a place down the street from me in Wiesbaden. I just wondered because they were about internet censorship or what have you. All right, Leach, I want to give some, like, my show's almost over. I only got another 20 minutes, so I'm gonna but thank you for giving me. Actually, thank you for helping me out a little bit, and thank you for pointing out that my opinion is not a lie. It's my opinion, and you can take it or fucking leave it. And I wasn't giving misinformation out there. I am not giving any misinformation.
Tommy, otherwise I couldn't be your friend because you're one of the most opinionated persons I know in this. I guess I gotta be. Thanks, man.
Thanks for the call, brother. I appreciate it.
No, you can't.
All
doesn't mean that.
Yeah, you're done, Jeff Huffman. I think there's something wrong with Skype, actually, because my connection's fine otherwise. So it's either you or me, and Skype's falling in and out. Thanks for the effort, Huffman. I apologize. So Fluffman can't be here. Oh, well. So I just have to finish this shit off like this. Those motherfuckers that keep adding me in a Skype chat, I swear to God, I'm going to block all these. I hate you all. Hate you. I'm going to try to take another call. Let's see if, I don't know, Skype doesn't seem to be working at all. 517, you're on the air. If this doesn't work, I'd say go to Discord. 517? 5, what's up? You're on the air.
Hey, this is,
Yeah, sorry, you're broken up and it's not your fault. I recommend Discord. Kill the number. There's something going on with Skype. Something tells me somebody's hitting their servers or something. Maybe it's a DDoS or something. Not necessarily me, because my stream is running beautifully. But I am going to... Boy, there's a lot of people interested. I'm surprised when I'm not being goofy and shit that... I'm really shocked that you guys... as many people held on as they did. That's like a bug out. It actually means a lot to me because obviously this affects me personally. And it affects me more than financially. It affects me in a manner where it scares me about German democracy. And I'm being very literal, and that does scare me. There's no doubt about it. I'm going to say your name is Felix. You're on the air.
That's Felix.
Felix,
I put
whatever.
my nemesis
Okay.
because I play in a lot of European servers, and they pronounce my name Felix.
Yeah, I got
so
you.
I put it like this. So
What you got me? What you got for me, brother?
I was just calling in because you said about the UK not being a free speech country. Did you hear about the Scottish guy who taught his girlfriend's dog to do a
Yes,
Hitler
he did.
salute? Every
Yes, he
time
did a Nazi salute as a goof, and he was arrested for it. How
Yeah, he was
utterly
arrested for it.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
How utterly ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing. I think now, kind of in Europe, because we've seen Trump and in the Netherlands with Geert Wilders, he got pretty. I think he was like, close second.
Yes. His party
I
does
think
better
if man
every election, it seems. Geert Wilders, I would say, but I mean, maybe I'm not saying it right.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I think things with hate speech is it's a bit like the American prohibition or with cannabis in the UK. If you try and stop it, it just goes underground and then ends up, it's hidden away.
Yeah, but
So
the
when you
one
have these
difference
things
between
hidden away-
cannabis and alcohol, it is not a basic human right. You don't need it. Free speech is a basic human right. It is probably the most basic, besides breathing or being allowed to. It is the most basic human rights. Yes, I believe the people that criticized me earlier today have a human rights issue. It might not be murder or anything like that, but it's up there. I think if you are not for total free speech, even the protection of those that you find repulsive, even hate speech, I feel you have a human rights problem because you're not permitting people to express themselves freely. There is only, you're saying there are only certain expressions that are permitted by law. Do you really feel comfortable knowing that there is a man in Scotland that faces prison time over a stupid joke? Are you outraged over what happened to PewDiePie and how he was misrepresented by the media in a stupid joke? I'm mad as hell for PewDiePie. But what about the guy in Scotland that made a similar joke that's being prosecuted by the government? It's one thing for the Wall Street Journal to lie about you. It's entirely another for the government to put you in prison for a joke. And that's essentially what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with the people who try and curtail free speech. The right that allows them, the right that they have, which allows them to speak their mind, is the right that they're trying to get rid of.
Yes,
it's unbelievably hypocritical.
And
if
it's
you're
also
allowed to walk the streets and speak your political ideology, then, and if that involves stopping other people, then what's to stop the others, a different ideology doing the same thing?
Yeah. Well, the fact that can't be grasped on any level by not, I would say, a majority of Europeans that I know, but a significant and unhealthy amount. And by the way, I've had this conversation here for the last 10 years. This is nothing new. This doesn't even need to happen in the United States, at least when I live there. I will die. I'm willing to die. I may not agree with your opinion, but I'm willing to die to defend it with something that I heard in school very often. And that does not seem to be the case over here. And some of the most insane arguments for it, well, does that mean you're for hate speech? No, I'm not for hate speech. I'm for the government deciding what is and what isn't because of the dangerous precedent it opposes. Excuse me. And
I think you're right.
the only argument to that tends to be, well, that will never happen. Why? The answer never comes. They're only putting people in jail that are saying xenophobic things, not realizing the statement itself is a contradiction because a xenophobic statement is subjective, and it's up to the judgment of someone, in this case, government. And the fact that so many young people are so comfortable in this part of the world with their government making those types of decisions. These are people that, I would say a lot of these people are on the left, and they hate the church's authority, and they hate police brutality. But if it comes to somebody's speech, they have no problem with that person going to court to see if he's really hateful in his heart. Because that's something that can be detected. That's what I find so disturbing.
Yeah, I think especially in Europe, and in Germany, especially because, obviously they had, with the Second World War and the Third Reich and things, I think they're so worried about people thinking anything like the Nazis that they will go so far to the other side that they're going back over they're going back on themselves. It's like the horseshoe theory. They're trying to be so anti-Nazi that they're becoming one themselves.
Let me run this by you. My father said this to me. The left in Europe and the United States is behaving more and more like Islamic radicals. And I don't mean that in a violent way as far as terrorism. I'm talking in an intellectual way. What I see from Islamic radicals, minus the terrorism, you can throw terrorism out the window in this situation, is you submit to Allah and everyone else submits to Muslims. Therefore, hypocrisy doesn't mean a thing. You can be hypocritical because you have submitted to Allah and all others must submit to you. And I see this on the left, where they're so comfortable to have one speech standard. I'm for free speech. And I am also for the government keeping in line people who would insult foreign dictators. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I'm all for free speech, but as long as you agree with me.
But as long as you're speaking, I'm for free speech as long as you speak and don't offend me or speak in a manner that I agree with. And that's essentially what I was told today by several young German. I said young. Several young Germans. And that is the recipe for authoritarianism that I believe has potential in this part of the world. And I say that unapologetically, and I say that not making comparisons to the Third Reich. I'm actually really making more comparisons to the Soviet Union. All right, bud. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Much appreciated.
Take care, man. Good job. Let's put Rez in there. Rez. Going once? Going twice? I'm not supposed to be mean anymore. I don't want to lose. I want to get my privileges back on Catch 33. General Sloth, you're on the air. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Tommy.
What do you got for me?
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Sure.
So about this whole thing, yeah, it's scary how the West is becoming more and more closed off from the free speech department. While here in the Eastern Europe, we don't have free media, but we can say whatever the fuck we want.
It does seem that where are you, in Hungary?
Bulgaria.
I apologize. Yeah. It does seem, and that's a former Soviet bloc country, which is ironic.
Yeah.
It does. I do feel, and I hear a lot from Eastern Europeans that have moved over here, and they find what's good. It's like, well, in a lot of cases, my relatives are trying to escape this shit. At least pre-1989.
Yeah.
And they seem to be walking back on it. They seem to be walking to it, and a lot of it is the left in the West has gone further to the left, and it looks more like Marxism than liberalism. But they still want to keep their liberal identity.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, traditional liberalism is lack of government intervention in the private sector, but this is
It's Marxism.
Yeah.
And that is the growth of the state to serve the state for the betterment of the people. And Marxism doesn't have one single success story. Its latest manifestation in Venezuela is starving people to death.
Yeah. I mean, I can attest to that. I mean, we still over here we still feel the repercussions of a Marxist regime.
And you were not. I'm guessing you were born after 1989, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And you feel those repercussions. Yeah. Can you imagine what's going on in Venezuela? They're probably looking at 50 years of this shit.
At least.
Yeah, at least. And they're probably. But Bulgaria, where you live, Bulgaria probably is a freaking great place compared to where they got.
Yeah, compared to where they got. Yeah.
Sure. It's very disturbing. It's sad. It's really frustrating for somebody like me who grew up with. I saw. See, when I was a kid, you guys were very clearly the bad guys. And you could see the authoritarianism. You could see the results of Marxism. You could see how it affected people. You could see that this part of the world, the East, was cut off. It was poor. It wasn't healthy. And it wasn't good for anybody. Not intellectually, not health-wise, not standard of living-wise. There was nothing there, and you could always point to it as an example to liberals. Now, 20 some odd years later, there's nobody to point to. So I think that makes Marxism more palatable. And I think that's what we're seeing here in all three cases that I had mentioned is a tinge of Marxism. That's what I think.
Marxism and collectivism in general is so it's easy to appeal to a younger mind. You know, the idea that everyone can be happy, everyone can be equal, everyone could be equal of equal outcome, not equal opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
here's the thing. It's like the people that don't think they're helping authoritarianism. Well, that sounds like a beautiful idea, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds nice, but it doesn't seem to be relevant whether it works or not, or who it affects negatively. It's almost like the thought is more important than the result. And that's, I think, the most dangerous thing about it. It's like a hate speech law. I want hate speech laws because I want there to be less hate. But the result is nothing. But I don't care. I want the hate speech law because I don't like hate, and that makes me important. No, it doesn't. Yeah. It makes you capitulating to other authoritarians. I'll talk to you later, General Slaw. Thanks for the call, buddy.
Yeah, no problem. Bye, Tom.
I am shocked that people actually, this is my first full-blown political show. I cannot believe that I held 400 people. But I'm pissed. I'm angry and I'm upset, and I fear for the future. I remember telling Colossus Crazy, he was asking me why he should vote for Brexit. And I said, because I don't want my children to be forced into a European army. I was immediately met by, there's no European army. That's not what's going to happen. Even as Jean-Claude Juncker is making all the right moves to create a European army. When I sent the article back to people on Twitter, that there were efforts to have a single military policy for Europe controlled by unelected officials in the EU. Just denial. Denial. Like it wasn't there. Like I didn't just show it to them. Well, that doesn't mean your child could have to serve. No, but I don't want to take that chance. If my kids are drafted by the Bundeswehr, which is the German army, I think they have a moral obligation to serve and protect this country because of the benefits that it gave them. They owe nothing to Brussels. And I like the fact that Brexit has made it a little less likely that my son, who is a little over a year old, will ever face that. I believe the EU is an authoritarian government body. I believe that Germany and a lot of other countries in Europe is becoming more authoritarian. And I don't think that is fear-mongering. I think it is objectively true by the legislation of our government elected officials and the behavior of our college students. You may disagree with me, but that's what I believe. And I think it lines out with democracies, not particularly the Weimar Republic, that have gone awry in the past. This is the start. This is what I believe. And for everybody that's going to call me a fearmonger or anything like this, I'll quote Bill Murray. The worst thing is that I'm wrong. And I'm an idiot. And I can go back to being an idiot. But I'm pretty sure there's people out there that would rather just shut me up. Who cares? I'm wrong. You all can say I'm a moron. But these examples I've given you today, factual, they affect my income, my family, and my future in this country that I decided to make my home in, that I love very, very much, just as much as my own country. But the government and my dealings with it personally, that have nothing to do with any of the three issues I raised, is repulsive. And it's filled with repulsive people that have authoritarian leanings. And if you don't like what I'm saying, uns up. Newest Whaler, you're on the air.
Oh, hey, Tommy. No, I like what you're saying.
Oh, thanks.
No, sorry. Jesus Christ.
Thank you so much for the donation.
There's some bit of lagging. I didn't mute the stream. My bad, my friend.
What you got, brother? What you got?
No, I feel like I feel sorry for your country, obviously, and it's a shame, really.
It is a shame. It's crying shame.
I wonder a thing. Can't you do like the whole Keemstar thing, where you say like, "Oh, I'm only hosting this stream"?
I will look into all options.
Yeah,
I'm not going without a fight. But once the bills start coming in, I have to make a decision whether I can make money and pay a license fee or something like that, whatever it might be. If it's $50 a year, fine, take it. If that's what's good, if that's what it's going to take to shut these people up, sure.
Yes.
But obviously, $10,000 a month is out of the question. $1,000 a month is out of the question.
Yeah,
and I believe they know that it's out of the question for somebody like me. So they succeed in doing. Silencing me and not even have to pass a hate speech law to do it.
Yeah. Obviously, they seem to have some kind of agenda with it, at least.
Sure,
I think.
Sure. I don't see why it's that much of a. If it's a wild assumption to think that somebody who is a part of the old media, who is now essentially a government official, can control new media, that there is just no connection there after all we've been going through in the past 2 months with the attacks, with the election of Donald Trump and the attacks on old media, on new media. Yeah. I don't really understand why that's so ridiculous. Had I said day one Pootie Pie, look, this would be this is a perfect opportunity for the old media to attack the new media, and they may do this, that, and the other thing, and Pootie Pie could be on a lot of trouble, and that could affect the rest of his YouTubers. Had I said that in February, you would have said I was nuts.
Yeah.
And soon enough, pretty soon, not too much long. I'm getting tongue tied. That means it's time to go to bed.
Oh shit.
Yes, it's time to go to bed. And it wouldn't have been that much longer.
You should put on Pancake Dude before. He was talking.
All right, I'll give Dated Ryan the last call. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, thanks, Whaler. Peace. What's Dated Ryan want? He never says anything mildly intelligent. And I apologize for Jeff not being able to be here. There seems to be something going on with Skype, and it's not on my end. Otherwise, the stream would have came down. It's the Germans. It's the Bundestag. Where's Dated Rhyme? You fucking... Oh, God, you stupid pants. He changes his name all the time. Hey, oh, wow. $50. Godspeed, Tommy. I hope everything works out for you.
Shit.
And fuck the haters. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. That means the world to me. Thank you.
Christ.
Thank you for that's 50
What a
bucks.
way
Did
to
you-
end the show. That's
Maybe I
really
should
nice.
put you. I want to see if that happens again. Hold on. I'm going to hang up on you and put you back. No, it didn't work.
No, damn. Sorry, bro.
All right, you're not going to
I-
act like an idiot for a change.
No, I'm not. I'm honestly going to be honest with you right now, Tommy. If stuff came to it, at the end of the day, I'm more than happy to build you a PC here and host you here. All you have to do is log into your computer normally,
Yeah.
and you link up to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll run all your OBS for you. I'll run all your streams for you and shit.
Yeah.
And you won't have any of the issues. You know, we play it a bit like Key Magic, you know, and all that shit.
Sure.
And I see it that way. I'm more than happy to work with you on that. you
Yeah.
know? That's how I see it. I'm happy
Oh,
to help you.
I like I said before, I'm willing to do anything and options. Look, when I get the letter shut down, that'll probably be the last day. I'll probably do a video and say goodbye. Actually,
We'll all play Chopin for you, mate. Honestly, you know, funeral marching.
well, don't worry about it. I'm not trying to clickbait this thing. Oh, the show's shutting down. I didn't do that. I'm basically telling you what's making me upset. What's making me not want to fucking joke around and act like a jerk and hang up on calls.
How come Anonymous haven't stepped in yet? You know, this is.
Oh,
normally
because they're a bunch
Anonymous'
of. I tell you something. I've never had good feelings about Anonymous. I do think they also have Marxist leanings.
Tommy, I just want to be honest with you right
Sure.
now. I'll hold up my hand. Probably not a lot of people. One, I attended Project Chinology in London,
Mhm.
and I was one of the Brit Anams. And second of all, I was involved in some other stuff to do with the Arab Spring and the uprising and everything.
Mhm.
And I can stand behind Anonymous and say shit works when we get stuff done. But at the moment, nobody's taking fucking charge at the moment. Now I see you, Tommy, as the
I don't
leader.
think Anonymous would like me very much.
I think they'd appreciate you for your dark humor that you have. You know, that stupid humor we all
Really?
have on this internet. Yeah, fuck it.
I worry about Anonymous.
Uh,
I'd
don't
have
worry
to
about
talk to somebody from Anonymous to really get. Well, you know, they
Tommy, you've got to remember there is no leader of Anonymous. You
Yeah.
know? It's like a bird song.
It's just a
you know,
bunch
we
of
all play out, it's
jackasses fucking saying.
yeah,
they're
we're all
Anonymous.
jackasses, and I'm the
Yeah.
biggest one of them. Hey,
Yeah.
because you know.
Well, then it's more like 4chan. I think I could relate to them a little more.
Mate, you'd fit in perfect
B-
on either pole or
In
B.
4chan, probably. They're a little too wild for me. They say a lot of fucking stuff that's
In
like,
regards to what
alright.
Gatsby's just said, yes, they do Sabu, but we know he's a rat.
Yeah.
We've known he's a rat since day
Is
one.
Gatsby in the chat? Is Gatsby in there? I almost like. to put him.
Gatsby's in VC. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I'm gonna put
He's in the
Gatsby
bottom.
in. Yeah, I'm gonna put him on real quick.
Gatsby is sexy
Irishman
motherfucker.
and an Englishman. Let's,
come on, Gatsby,
I
unmute your
I
mic,
do. I
mate,
want to put.
please.
Yeah, I'm putting Gatsby on right now.
Come on, Gatsby.
Come on, baby, you can do it.
Captain Paddy.
Brexit was the worst thing to happen to Britain. Well, I'm glad it did.
We could
Absolutely
have had worse
ecstatic.
things happen. We could have all been blown up.
Yeah, I think the worst thing that happened to Britain is they got bombed.
Yeah,
Not that
but
they
I-
left an organization that doesn't represent Britain democratically. But I voted for my EMP. I did. Did you know he can't propose legislation? Did you know that? That he's a part of a rubber stamp parliament. He can vote yay or nay. And if he votes nay, he may have to vote nay the next day over and over and over until the body that is allowed to write legislation that is picked, not elected, has
I
no
believe you go
democratic
back to the
mandate.
Advocare.
Did you know that, Europe? I bet you didn't, because your EMP is a sham. It is there to let you think that there's some kind of democracy in the EU. There is none.
Tommy, where is your tinfoil hat made of pancakes?
It's not a tinfoil hat. It's a fact.
Yeah,
After
I'm
the
fucking
Treaty of
rough.
Lisbon,
Pancakes.
essentially, what do they call it? The European.
Magic shit. Yeah. Go on.
I'm getting sick of you. Where's Gatsby? He fucked
I
up.
don't know. Fuck knows what Gatsby is.
I'm
You
trying
could
to put
say something.
Gatsby on Shroud. I wish I could.
You know,
Where's
we want
CJ?
Gatsby
I'll
on.
put him on. All right, I think. Let's put Nick Gallo on. Fuck him.
Yeah,
Nick, what do you
Nick
want,
Gallo.
you big
I put you
dummy?
on, bro.
Hi.
I hate
Yeah, I
you.
got you on. Congratulations.
Yes.
You gonna say something interesting, or are you just gonna, drive my
I was
fans
gonna
nuts?
say, no, did you see my theory which I put on Twitter to you?
No.
Go on,
It was
go on.
actually
Tell
a
us,
really
tell us.
good idea.
I doubt it. Go ahead.
Spit it.
Right, you know how Keemstar said about how he doesn't own the channel and that he got away with Drama Alert?
Yeah.
Well, you're not streaming, you're a guest on the stream.
Look, I'll look into those options. I've touched base with the leech on stuff like that. There may be holes, but they may be closed rather quickly. I'm not going to prison for this shit.
Well,
You know.
obviously.
Well,
if you turn around and
maybe would I
you're
go to
a
prison for
guest
this?
on the show.
Gatsby, he was late, mate. Just saying that now.
You know, I
pop
might
up
be
in the
willing to
sky.
go to prison for this.
Bless you. I think it'll be like Kevin Mitnick when he went to prison. You know, we'll all be chanting outside, Tommy, Tommy, Tommy.
Yeah,
You know?
that doesn't sound too bad.
Why
I
don't
didn't know
you,
that doesn't sound too bad. I think I might be able to. It depends. I have to ask my wife.
Well, what's German prison like? Is it any good? Did you have good
Thank
food?
you. Rest in piss, dickhead. Thanks for the buck. It's not over yet.
Why don't
At the
you,
end of the day, if you want to be in tweeting out, at the end of the day, just send a letter to your wife and saying, tell my mama or tell Pancakes this, and we'll tell you that anything that says tell Pancakes, we'll put on Twitter.
If I could get arrested and it could spawn a political movement, or I would have people that are part of a political movement said they would support me, yeah, I'd do the time. I would
the
go to
next
court
Gandhi.
if I could get the legal support. Yeah, I'd do it.
what you should do is you steal your child and run for the US.
No, it depends on how much
Didn't
time
H3
it depends on how
sell
much
some
time
legal
I would
shit,
do. I
though?
think I could do 2 or 3 years, but any more than that, it's a little
Pretty
ridiculous.
worth it.
Tommy, didn't H3 or somebody like that set up a lawsuit thing for anybody who gets affected on the internet? You know, we just
No, I think it's just it's about copyright, the false copyright
that's-
claims and stuff. They're not going to come to me here, and that's mostly American lawsuits because Americans are sue happy.
wankers.
Yes,
Yeah. Not wrong.
in that aspect, you'd be correct. Americans are a bit sue happy.
Yeah,
Soon.
the political system's a bit broken. Shit
Yeah.
happens.
Well, you know why you don't have a crazy shit like that. It's something that
Yeah,
American
'cause we're
lawyers.
Britain.
No,
And
you're
we're
not.
old-fashioned.
You have loser pays. We don't. Yes, Americans. What happens, and actually have it here in Germany too. If I sue
Leach for not having pancakes. Go on.
for not having pancakes, and I would say that's a frivolous lawsuit. And Leach has to spend a bunch of money, and I spend a bunch of money, and a judge rules in Leach's favors. I gotta pick up his bill.
Can we pull Gatsby up now because he's apparently here?
All right,
God bless him.
I'm sick of you.
Little
I'm
Irishman.
pulling up Gatsby and I'm saying goodbye. Both of you get out of here. Bye. Where's Gatsby? All right, you're the last caller because you're Irish.
Thanks, man. Look, I'm so fucking pissed. It's ridiculous. Article 40.6.1.I of the Irish Constitution protects the people's right to free speech and freedom of expression. And they want to take it away because they're pissed off, because they're worried about offending people's feelings with the fucking refugee crisis. Get
Sure.
the fuck out of here, man. I will fight and fucking die to protect this nation again like my forefathers did before me 100
Wow.
years ago. I am so fucking pissed right now. You can't.
Yeah,
believe
you know, isn't it funny that your country really technically isn't 100 years old? In fact, 1919 is the 100th anniversary is slowly approaching, and everything
it's already
did
gone. It's
to
already-
fight
it's been
against the
gone.
British, they're going to hand over to the EU and other authoritarians, other Irish authoritarians. Isn't that amazing?
It's ridiculous, and I've said it to Irish people on the street. I've said this. I've explained the situation, and they're so complacent. They're like the Germans. They just want to lie down and take it. They don't care as long as they're just able to live their life freely.
You know,
without
it's so funny. Growing up, being told I was Irish. Yes, I know I'm Irish American. I know that I was told that the Irish people would never ever tolerate oppression again. They would never ever, especially. But we always viewed it as the British. Like if the Brits ever came back, which they never were, they were never coming back. Then the Ireland would rise again. I got to be honest with you. If Theresa May sent troops into Dublin, I get the feeling from the Irish people that I've met in the last 10 years, some of them, a lot of them would lay down, and only a few of you guys would be laying in the street with blood on the fucking streets that had the guts. And I think you're a throwback. I got to be perfectly honest with you, and that's my opinion. There are a lot of throwbacks.
It infuriates me to no fucking end.
Yeah, I know.
Like I was out on the streets of Dublin around the time of the centenary celebration. I've never felt more proud, never. And now in the past couple of weeks, that feeling of pride is just distinguished. I feel like I'm living amongst a crowd of traitors. No shit.
Really?
Yep.
You
no
sound
shit.
like a real Irishman. Boy.
I'm infuriated. Like no shit. I've never felt this angry about something in months.
Aloo. They're looking for monkeys at the zoo. And if I had a face like you, I'd join the EU army.
That's the thing. I was actually planning on joining the Irish Army because of the fact that what
I met some
doing now,
great
that's-
troops in the Irish army, by the way. But here's the problem: you guys end up on the blue helmet all the time. I don't know if you want to serve those
that's
jackasses.
No, that's the thing. I'm
I don't want to
completely
serve
against
them
it.
either.
I'm completely against it. And the thing is, like, I was planning on joining them and I had my heart set on it for so long. But now when it comes to it, now that I think about it, we're literally just building up the army because of the EU reactionary force that they're setting up. And you're dead right about the whole EU army thing and the conscription and shit. They're going to do it.
You think they are?
100%.
That's people said, like, why don't I move back to the States? That'll do it. My kid's not going to the army. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
I'm leaving then.
If push comes to shove, like, I'd rather take part.
I can set you up in New York. You probably have to go in illegally, but there's shit tons of fucking illegal Irish immigrants in New York.
I appreciate it, Tommy, but the thing is, I wouldn't leave. I'd fight and die on the streets of this country again.
That's the way you're supposed to do it. I don't know too many Germans that I almost think, like, you know, like it sounds normal coming from an Irishman, but if I heard that from a German, everybody would be like, oh, he's a Nazi. What, to protect what's his family, his culture, his way of life?
I had this conversation before with somebody else on Twitter because I call myself a nationalist. I was called a supremacist and all this type of shit, a white supremacist. Yeah. Because I happen to be white and because I happen to love my country. It's patriotic fucks like that that are the bone cancer of other nations that just lay down and.
Well, they're trying to shut you up. They're trying to shut you up by throwing a red herring. So instead of defending your patriotism, you're defending yourself from being a racist or not being a racist, whether the tag is deserved or not.
Let them call me whatever the fuck they want to call me, because I have a sense of pride about myself amongst the other cowardly.
I know a guy in Dublin. He's a rapper and a comedian, and I think just recently he was a bit of I wouldn't say social justice, but more on the left. But I think I get the feeling, I don't know this for a fact, I should have Eric on actually, that he started feeling he wanted to do, you know, edgy jokes because he's a really funny guy, super funny guy, typical Irish witch, super talented, can rap, just a really, really funny cat, and he's in Dublin too, by the way. I think. He would never have voted for somebody like Donald Trump. He became a Trump supporter, sort of like my friend Pierre Pustinen, who does Mod once at the time. These guys were on the left.
I'm good friends with Pierre.
Yeah, good friends. I watch Pierre go from one end to the other. Sometimes I think he's a little extreme on the right, and I like him tone it down, but I kind of pass it off to his age. But it is funny, like this guy, and if I had to guess, I bet I should have him on. They started telling him to tone down certain jokes. Why?
Oh, because they're afraid of offending people now. That's the way it is.
They're afraid of offending people in an Irish comedy club. Think about that.
It's hilarious.
Think about that. One of Ireland's greatest export, and I like to think that I inherited at least a little bit of this trait, is their humor and their way to go about life and their carefree way of doing things.
We don't mind self-deprecating humor. We're kind of in with it.
Well, I mean, the whole thing about the luck of the Irish. The whole thing about the luck of the Irish is it's kind of a goof. Fucking, you're about the most unlucky people on the planet.
Oh, have you ever read a fucking history book? Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Oh, the luck of the Irish. Well, they're not very lucky. It's kind of a goof. It's like calling a guy that's tall shorty, you know?
This is the thing that annoys me about it, especially about my family. It's the fact that we've been here for as long as Irish history goes back. We've survived the English, we've survived the potato famine, we've survived everything, and now we're just going to roll over and comply with this bullshit that the fucking EU, USSR are trying to implement. No fucking way, man. Yeah. No way.
Even if don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble. But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Let them lock me up. Fuck it. If I'm the only one on the streets with a rifle, I'll be the only one on the streets with a rifle.
That's Irish. That right there is an Irishman. To the bone. That's what I was told. It was statements like that. That's what makes you Irish when you're a kid. Yeah.
Pure fucking fury. That's what it is, man.
Yeah.
I'm just annoyed.
It's actually very refreshing for me to hear it. Because when I started meeting a lot of Irish immigrants in my late teens and early 20s, I didn't hear a lot of that. I heard a lot of what bothers you, and that I found it so strange because I was raised that the country that my family came from was steadfast and they stood for something. They're willing to die, and to hear these sort of soft. I don't want to say liberal because it's almost like an excuse for a word, but
it's a kind of feminine. I don't even want to say feminized because it's an insult.
I don't know if it's even feminized is right the word, but I just met a lot of Irish people that don't appreciate. I don't know. Maybe it's because I knew my grandfather and he served in World War II. I feel like too many generations went by because it would have been your my great grandfather would have been able to fight in the Irish Revolution. And that's just too much time has gone by, and people forgot why Ireland is the way it is, and they don't know an Ireland that has an oppressive rule.
Since the first English soldiers came here 800 years ago, we've been fighting non-stop. Countless failed rebellions, but we just kept fighting. And now that fighting spirit is seems almost.
It's 98 years ago. That's the problem.
I've walked the streets of the city, and people just don't seem to care anymore. They just don't. They don't. It infuriates me to know it.
Tell your father that I'm glad he raised you right, but don't do anything crazy and don't get in trouble. You only fight and die if you have to. Don't be too Irish. Okay.
I won't be doing it for you know.
What you're saying is, I want to clarify that if it came to it, you would fight and die for your country. You're not going to do anything crazy,
Absolutely.
right? Exactly. Thank you, Average Gatsby. You're a good man, and I'm very proud. I'm very proud that you come from the country where my family immigrated from. Very proud of that. Take care, buddy.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. I don't think I said that right. Listen, and I mean this. I am sorry if you came here for comedy, or me and goofing on Jeff's chin, and I'm also sorry that Jeff wasn't able to say the whole show. It kind of sucks because he's doing a good job. But I'm not going to make a habit of this because it's just not I just got a bug fly up my ass today. But I am proud that you gave me this sort of day off to do something a little different. And I'm really proud that we held as many people as we did. And I can't thank you enough for that. Certainly, and I want to shout out the donators today. I know I don't always do that because it's difficult for me to walk and chew gum at the same time. But I'm going to shout those donators out right now because I don't think I said the name. Come on. Last two donations. GK, Oops Got Memes, and the Beige Sheep. And there's two beige sheep, apparently. Excuse me. Thank you so much for your donations. It is all appreciated, the support. I can promise you that I will fight within the best of my ability this situation. I don't know if I don't want to alarm anybody, but I don't think this is going to happen tomorrow. If it does, it does. But you can bet I'm going to do what I can. If it means going into a government building or something, and I will do that. I'll embarrass the shit out of myself. But don't panic. Not going anywhere. And you can bet your ass I will fight it. And depending on the situation, I might be willing to risk arrest if that arrest shine light on this attack on free speech. This attack from the old media on the new. I'd be willing to do that because I come from the country, or my family comes from the country that the last guy you heard on. And that's the guy I was told I should be growing up. And no shame in that whatsoever. If you think that's extreme, well, you're entitled to it. But fuck off. Friday. We're doing a stream, extra special Friday episode. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.
This is the almighty infinite, independent excellence. Devil fighting, rebel titan, weed smoking alchemist. Fake identities, okay, you cool with Jason Bourne. Running with these Wolverines, okay, you about to catch a storm. I ain't never been a liar, got tired of niggas playing me. Head in my legs like she about to catch a pedigree. Chi-Town, the King's home, slapping fives, black stones, 6 mile to danger zones. Bullets look like waffle cones. Folk affiliated to evolution of Machiavelli. Don't make me lead them eagles to you like I'm Chip Kelly. They feel my struggle, I express it through my hip hop. I'm about to make it hard to breathe. Here's a headline.
I promise I will fight to the best of my abilities.